I was just thinking to myself, I do not know what to say. I then said immediately, let's start with that. Why don't I start with that? I do not know what to say. Because we have a planet, a cartoon planet, where cartooned monkeys, cartoonly, quote, think, unquote, cartoonishly, rather than allowing the spiritual, soulful energies to resonantly, flowingly flow up through the cerebral spinal cord, into the cerebral cortex, into the cerebellum, into the cerebrum, cartoonishly, energizing and empowering brain function from the interior being's spiritual, soulful, fibrous fibers of fires of fibrousness. So I began this video moments ago stating directly, I don't even know what to say. Because apparently cartoon monkeys cartoonly think, quote unquote, that words have no power. Words are basically ephemeral wisps of the imaginations and non-imaginations. Cartoonishly, they have no cartoon resonances of cartoon powers to cartoonly impinge. Cartoonly at, cartoonly anybody, cartoonly else. Cartoonishly. Cartoon words, cartoonishly, cartoon words are cartooned wisps of the cartooned non-imaginations, in this case, cartoonishly. There is nothing happening in the spiritual, soulful, fibrous fibers of fires of fibrousness in terms of the creative imaginativeness energies that powerfully drive this cartoon planet in cartoon circulos, cartoonishly. But let me state immediately, however, let me state immediately, if anybody desired to debate me on this one, I wouldn't mind, because I am not so entirely certain that these spiritual, soulful energies are powering this cartoon planet in cartoon circulos, cartoonishly. Not when we have millions and tens of millions of thousands of millions of hundreds of millions of billions of individuals with their cartoon fingers up their cartoon butt cheeks, sitting and stewing in their cartoon salus, their cartoon star, their cartoon living, quote unquote, rooms, cartoonist, their cartoon living, quote unquote, quote rooms, cartoonishly fretting without a guitar strap around their shoulder. They're fretting, they're cartoonly fretting, they're cartoonly fuming their cartoon heads off. Their cartoon skulls cartoonly out. There's nothing even, quote, happening in the actual areas of spiritual, soulful intelligence, of deeper, soulful, spiritual resonances, of the spiritual, soulful fibers of fires of fibrousness, cartoonishly. I once heard a certain cartoon author cartoonly state, there is no greater waste of time, to my knowledge, than guilt and blame, I think he said. I think he said cartoonishly. I would like to say, I don't think there's a greater waste of time from my deeper interior resonances. I don't think there's a greater waste of time than sitting around fretting, fuming about, quote, things, end quote, of zero consequence to the individual, that individual, as in no individual, can do anything about at all, ever at all, ever at all, cartoonishly. Before never at all, cartoonishly. So I would like to add to this individual's statements and say that, okay, I don't want to call this individual out as being wrong. I mean, this was his individual opinion, okay? In his humble opinions, there is no greater waste of time than cartoon guilt and cartoon blamingness. Cartoonishly. I am simply stating that my deeper interior resonances have an alternate resonance. That there is actually no greater waste of time than sitting around cartoonly fretting and cartoonly fuming. Second to that, there's no greater waste of time than sitting around and cartoonly shooting, the cartoon bull, cartoonistly. When that cartoon bull is a cartooned alternate individual that some cartoon monkey cartoonly feels that he, cartoonly she, can cartoonly size, cartoonly up, cartoonistly, with cartooned accuracies, cartoonistly. They are so cartoonly, quote, keenly, quote unquote, aware, cartoonistly, aware in quotation marks. They are so cartoonly, quote, aware, end quote, of all of your idiosyncrasies and more like inadequacies. More like your cartooned inadequacies are in their cartoon viewfinders, cartoon laser, cartoon focusnesses of cartoon vigilance, cartoonistly. They don't need a Senor Charles Bronson. They need a Senor kick in the cartoon dientes. They need a cartoon kick in the cartoon dientes, cartoonistly, to wake them up, cartoonistly to wake them up, cartoonistly. No one is cartoon judge, cartoonly nor, cartoon jury, cartoonly over, cartoonly anybody, cartoonly else, cartoonistly. Not even cartoon juez, cartoon judía. I mean cartoon juez, cartoon Judy, cartoonistly. Is cartoon jueza, cartoonly por todo el mundo, cartoonistly. No, nor is she cartoonly is, cartoonly she, cartoon jueza, in cartoon términos de cartoon ética, cartoon ethic, and cartoonly and cartoon discipline. This is on the cartoon parts of cartoon otras, cartoon personas, cartoonistly. I would certainly hope that cartoonly she would cartoonly agree with me. She is not cartoon judge, cartoonly nor cartoon jury. Cartoonly in, cartoonly terminos, cartoonly de. Cartoon human ethics, spiritual, soulful discipline. Cartoonly nor cartooned morals, cartoon values, cartoon humanity, cartoonly towards, cartooned otras, cartoon personas, cartoonly in, cartoon terminos, cartoonly de, cartoon kindnesses, which she could not write a book about. But none of us would buy that book, would we? If cartoon jueza, cartoon judía, I mean cartoon jueza, cartoon Judy, cartoonly wrote a cartoon libro, would we buy it? As it, yeah, quote, as, and quote, it cartoonly pertains, cartoonistly, cartoonly to cartoon kindnesses, cartoonistly. No, we would not. We would avoid any section of a bookstore that contained that cartoon libro, wouldn't we? We might even write letters to that bookstore's owners saying, why do you have this book that makes no sense? This individual is a known liar. At least if she had a cartoon book that cartoonly purported, cartoonly to, cartoonly read, cartoonly us, cartoonly the, cartoon riot, cartoon acts, cartoonly on, cartoonly the, cartoon topic, cartoonly of, cartoon kindness, cartoon kindnesses, cartoonistly. But I spoke moments before that about, I began this video by stating, I don't even know what to say. Cartoon monkeys, cartoonly, quote, pensando, end quote, que Las palabras no tienen ningún efecto. Cartoonistly. No tienen ningún poder. Cartoonistly. Sí lo tienen. Sí lo tengan. Sí lo tienen. Sí lo tengan. Sí lo tienen. Sí lo tengan. Sí lo tienen. Cartoonistly. Let's label this cartoonistly naivete. Cartoonistly. Cartoonistly naivete. Cartoonistly. Cartoonistly naivete. Cartoonistly. When a cartooned individual cartoon monkey cartoonly quote thinks, end quote, nor quote believes, end quote, nor cartoonly quote believes, end quote, cartoonly nor cartoonly quote believes, end quote, cartoonly that, cartooned palabras, cartoonly no, cartoonly tienen, cartoonly ningún, cartoon efecto, cartoonistly. That somehow words are simply, cartoonistly that simply words, or cartoonistly that simply or non-simply words are an ephemeral wisps of the imaginations, or in this case the non-imaginations when it pertains to gossip. Gossipingness is cartoonistly. Somehow it doesn't matter because in the end we love them anyway, don't we? Even when we don't love the sin, we love the sinner. Cartoonistly, even when we don't love the sin, we love the sinners. Cartoonistly. Cartoonistly, even when we don't love the sin, we love the sinners. Cartoonistly. Okay, let me genuflect for a moment here while I pivot to something else. What happens when we actually don't resonate with our cartoon familiares? We actually feel a deep, deep depth of ear resonances. Cartoonistly. So much so that we know, for example, I know I love Jesus Christ with all of my heart and soulfulness, fibers, cartoonistly. What happens when any cartoon speck of cartoon amore por cualquier otra persona en el universo only non-compares to the depth of lovingness, only non-compares to the depth of amore en el corazoncito, en el corazón, non-compared to the depth of amore, of lovingness that I have toward Jesus Christ, cartoonistly, non-cartoonistly. What happens when that cartoon speck of cartoon blank, se rime con la palabra barks? What happens when that cartoon speck of cartoon blank, se rime con la palabra barks? What happens when that cartoon speck of cartoon blank, se rime con la palabra barks, is so cartoonly infinitesimal, non-compared to the depth of amore que yo tengo por Jesucristo, cartoonistly? What happens when we individually cannot honestly say that we really love anybody else, non-compared to the depth of amore, of lovingness that we have toward Jesus Christ, cartoonistly, non-cartoonistly? Answer me this. Answer me this. Answer me this. What about let's just let this sink in. What about the factualnesses behind what I'm saying? Rather than nothing compares to you, what about the title, everything only non-compares to the depth of amore, of lovingness that I have toward Jesus Christ, cartoonistly? Everything else only non-compares. Non-compares. Non-compare. Cartoonistly. There is nothing resemblantly relatable about any of it. It is a complete depth of your resonances, non-compared to the resonances of amore, lovingness in my soulful heart of soulfulnesses toward Jesus Christ, cartoonishly. So it ends up being a complete non-comparazione, no? It ends up being a complete non-comparazione, no? It ends up being a complete non-comparazione, no? It only cartoonly blank, cartoonishly. It only cartoonly blank, cartoonishly. It only cartoonly blank, cartoonishly. Se rime con la palabra d'entr'asts, nor rentr'asts, cartoonishly. There is nothing non-comparable about any of, quote, it, end quote, cartoonishly. But I individually can state I am not blank, se rime con la palabra rateful, nor dateful. I am not blank, cartoonishly. Cartoonishly, I am not cartoonly blank, se rime con la palabra rateful, nor dateful, cartoonishly. But I sincerely, bluntly, sincerely feel a depth of resonances that dates back probably to the moment of my birth into existential existence, cartoonishly. In this cartoon planet of cartoonist depths of irresonances, cartoonishly. Cartoonishly, it is not that palabras no tienen ningún poder, cartoonishly. Cartoonishly, it is not that words have no power, cartoonishly. What has more power than words is cartoon focusedness of cartoon focusedness is cartoonishly. Cartoonishly, attentional, attention, focused inwardly inward, cartoonishly. Cartoonishly, attentional, attention, focused inwardly inward, cartoonishly. Cartoonishly, attentional, attention, focused inwardly inward, cartoonishly. That's where the cartooned blank cartoonly exists. Se rime con la palabra flower. I'm going to end this with that important intelligence of wisdom. Cartoonishly, non-cartoonishly. Buenas noches y hasta luego.